All right. Get them. Wait, where's the music? Oh, this is exciting. We're on stream number 32. That's awesome. All right, give me a sec. Let me just set everything up here. Public. I think we're live, right? Okay, so I'm just gonna assume everything is good. It doesn't look like it's not saying that I'm live, but I think it is. It's set to public. Anyways, I'm just going to start. Welcome to the 30-second Ask Me Anything live stream. Now, if you are new to the channel or missed the live portion of this, I like to do a live stream probably twice a month, bi-weekly if I can, and just talk about main concepts and ideas that I've been thinking about. And also the AMA part is basically just, it's an acronym for Ask Me Anything. And so the idea that I had is I wanted to practice on my ability to speak in a live setting. So which was like the main reason for doing the live stream. And also it gives you guys a chance to ask me any questions in the meantime. And so generally I like to pick a title about a concept that I've been thinking about recently, and today is going to be mental health. So what I normally do, if you guys aren't familiar to the channel, feel free to subscribe or like the stream if you found this content valuable. But what I usually like to do is sort of just riff on the topic that I want to talk about, and then as people come in, I like to answer their questions. So we may dabble on the topic of mental health, we may go on a completely different tangent, who knows. But this is, I don't know, I say this every time I do the stream, and this is so surprising that live streaming is something that I do on the regular now. It feels, I don't know if you would call it imposter syndrome, but it feels like it's something that I can't believe that I do on a regular basis, and it's something that I've become very comfortable at doing. As in the very beginning, you can even watch them. I put a playlist on my channel with the past live streams, just titled it live stream playlist, and they're all unlisted so that all the streams don't like mess up my video section feed of my channel, which is already gunked up by all the YouTube shorts. So that's something that I don't like. But I make all the past live streams unlisted and I put them in a playlist if you want to check them out. And I remember one day I went back and I looked at, was it the first or second live stream I did? And there was just like nerves everywhere. I was slurring my words. I just looked super uncomfortable and it just wasn't relaxed. And this is an important lesson for anyone out there that wants to try a new skill or a new hobby, or even maybe wants to try doing YouTube in the future. At the beginning, it's very, very uncomfortable and difficult. And it feels so bizarre and foreign that you're doing this thing that you want to do. But like all skills in life, they get better in time, right? If you work on it, if you put in the time and the effort, you'll get better and you become a more competent streamer or whatever skill you're trying to reach. So today I wanted to kind of talk about mental health, as this is like a subject that I feel like needs more attention, and it's one that I should kind of talk about more, as I think it's very, very important. Now, the mental health epidemic, I don't know if you would want to call it an epidemic, but this whole idea of working on your mental health, improving your mental health, and taking your mental health seriously was something that I never was taught as a kid. Like, obviously, right now I'm 37, so when I grew up, it was like in the 90s. The mid 90s was when I was like going to school, and just learning on how to become a man and just growing up into be a teenager. And no one ever heard of the word mental health. It wasn't something that we talked about. It wasn't something that we learned in school. It wasn't something that our parents were aware of. Like, no one knew this idea of mental health and what it was. And so it's interesting because some people from the older generation discredit it because of this fact. Because back in the day, this was never an issue. We never had to deal with it. So they kind of brush mental health under the rug. And I don't like that line of thinking, because you are essentially closing your mind to new possibilities and new techniques and ideas that could benefit your life. And taking mental health seriously was something that took me a while to kind of adapt into my lifestyle. Like I was like, I don't have a mental health problem. I don't have any mental health issues. Like, why should I even think about this? Or why should I even care about this? And it wasn't until I kind of did a deep dive into mental health and what is it and how does it apply to my life, but more importantly, how can I improve it? And what's very interesting is that if you take your mental health seriously and you work on it just like any other skill, like say if you want to work on a language or improving your writing or learning how to code or whatever, name the skill. If you spend time, energy, and effort into it, it's going to get better. And that's the same thing with mental health. If you take it seriously, put in the time, the energy, and the effort, then you can really work out some things in your life that cause you anxiety and depression and stress and mental health issues. And so I guess the best way for me to kind of talk about this subject is reveal my experience with mental health. Like, as I said before, this was never something I even cared about. This was never something I thought about or journaled about. It wasn't even in my realm of possibilities when it came to my day-to-day life. But when I got into this whole self-improvement niche on YouTube, it basically started with just physical health, right? Like working out, eating healthy, losing weight, and being more fit, being in shape. Like, these are very tangible attributes and improvements that you can see and others can see as well. Like when you start eating healthy and go to the gym on a consistent basis, I'm not talking like 1 or 2 times, like I'm talking about like 4, 5, 6 months of like consistent, rigorous training with proper dieting or proper eating, there is a dramatic effect that changes your exterior body that other people can see. And so the response that you get is immediate. People will compliment you. They'll be like, oh, hey, I noticed that, you've lost some weight. You look great. Or maybe you start building some muscle in your shoulders and your arms. And like, some dudes be like, oh man, bro, your biceps are looking jacked, right? And so other people can see that change, right? That they can tell that you've been doing something behind the scenes and your physical health is improving by proxy of your appearance. And so I think in that situation, the connection from the work you put in to the outcome, it's very linear, right? Like you put in the work, everyone can see it, and then you get results right away. Whereas when you talk about trying to improve your mental health, these are all internal things that you have to go through. And when you make giant strides in improving your mental health, nobody can see it. These go unnoticed. These improvements are invisible to the outside world. And you can't let that prevent you from pursuing it, right? And I think that's very important. And so when I kind of came to this conclusion, I was like, man, this is tough, right? Because you have to work on something that no one else can see and that no one else will congratulate you on, right? Like no one is going to come up to you and be like, oh, hey, right? I noticed you've been working on your mental health and, you appear, you look a lot better. Or like maybe there's some physical changes that happen. Maybe you're not as sad or depressed, or maybe you appear more happy or lively. Like, sure, maybe there's something physical that changes on your exterior that, people may notice. But generally, the changes of contentment, of happiness, of reducing your social anxiety, again, these are transparent to the outside eyes of people, and they're never going to see it. So this is why, like mental health is such a big thing, because it has a direct correlation with people's social anxieties. And it's very interesting because more and more I hear stories from people, or I hear of these situations where there's human beings out there in the world that are really struggling with social anxieties, right? They're struggling with comparison. They're struggling with acceptance. They're struggling with their internal happiness, their passion in life and their joys and their direction. And there's all these existential questions that I keep hearing people struggle with. And all of that basically comes back to mental health, right? And if you don't have a good baseline, if you don't have a solid foundation for your mental health that you can fall back on, right, it's very difficult for you to progress in those other aspects in your life. Now, what's interesting is that I don't think I ever struggled too much with social anxiety or acceptance. Like, I know that when you're a kid, like when you're younger, acceptance from your peers is everything, right? Like, you want to make friends, you want to be popular, you don't want to be bullied, you don't want your classmates to make fun of you for the clothes you wear. Like when you're a kid, all these ideas are super, super important to you, because your social status amongst your friends and classmates, when you're a kid in school, it's extremely important to you. Like that social status, where you're accepted from, you're accepted in the group, right? It's very, very important. And so there are all these stages where you really care about the appearance. You really care about even things like your haircut. I remember when I was a kid, like if I got a bad haircut, I'd be devastated. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I got to go to school the next day. This barber butchered my hair. I look like a monkey, cut it too short. My giant pointy ears are sticking up. And there's all this like social anxiety that would build up. And it's tough for children, right? Because these are things that as an adult, we can sweep under the rug. Like if I have a bad hair day, or I have like a bad haircut or something, well, like you guys are going to laugh at me, right? There's nothing, right? It doesn't bother me, because I know like there's so many other difficult and more important things in life than how your hair is cut or how your hair looks on your head. But for younger people, it's hard for them, because, maybe the way their hair looks is everything, right? Maybe there's a certain style or fashion that all their friends have, and they wanted to get it too, and then maybe the barber messed it up and now they look like a fool, and they're going to feel like an outcast, and that's a tough thing to deal with, again, when you don't have like a baseline level of mental health, mental strength, and mental fortitude that you've built up through experience. It's very devastating for a child. And this is still applicable later in life, like when you become a teenager. And I think this is where I kind of first recognized some mental health issues that I had, especially being someone that was extremely introverted. And I don't know what it is. I think like introversion, social anxiety, and mental health kind of go hand in hand. They kind of rotate and affect one another, because like generally when you're shy and extremely introverted, there is always this social anxiety, of talking to other people. And this, like, but believe it or not, this is something that I had. Like, I used to be fearful of public speaking. Like, I was so scared to do a group project in front of the class, or even like a solo project, or read out my essay that I wrote, or whatever research paper that I had for college, like whatever situation that required me to speak in a public setting in front of more than 10 or 15 people, it terrified me. Like I'd be full of nerves. I'd be shaking. What's the saying? Shaking like a leaf or a twig. I don't know. But I'd be trembling, right? I'd be so scared. that I would look like a fool and that I would look like a dumbass. And what happens is, that causes you a tremendous amount of social anxiety, and it reduces the amount of confidence you have to communicate with people, which only makes the whole situation worse, right? It only compounds on top of itself. And this was something that I really struggled with, for a long, long time. I was like, man, I have this thing where sometimes I talk too fast and I slur my words. And I really noticed this yesterday when I was listening to one of my podcast episodes. I had this moment where I wanted to do some self-evaluation. And I listened to a podcast episode that I just released, which is the Bearsy podcast. If you guys haven't seen it, I have all the episodes on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that stuff. And so I finished recording episode 38 and I released it. And I was like, you know what? I think this is a good time to do some self-auditing. And I listened to the podcast back, and there's all these moments where I was rushing my speech. I was slurring words together. It almost sounded like I had a lisp at times, and there was a lot of ums and uhs and likes, and that type of communication that is very difficult to listen to. And it's one of my pet peeves. It's something that really bothers me, especially with my YouTube videos. Whenever I make a YouTube video, obviously I have to edit it, right? And there's tons of if there's tons of ums, uhs, and likes and dead air in that video that I record, it kills me on the inside. Oh, Batiste. Yo, what's going on, Batiste? Good to see you, bro. How's the gym? I was just ranting about some mental health issues that I had when I was younger. But how you doing, bro? Good to see you. Yeah, speaking of the gym, I've been building a little, I don't know if you would call it a home gym because it's just my garage, but I've been building this area where I can work out because I don't have a gym membership anymore. Obviously because of COVID, I canceled it and all that stuff. And so I was like, you know what? Let's try to kind of build a little home gym in my garage. So right now I have the bench, adjustable bench, so I can do flat bench, incline, and seated. I guess you would call it seated, where the bench becomes goes all the way up at a 90-degree angle, and I guess you can do seated overhead press. So I have that, and I have adjustable dumbbells from 10 all the way to 90 pounds. So I have a pretty good setup. The only thing I need to make now is something where I can do pull-ups. So I was thinking about installing just like a pipe into the roof of, not the roof, what do you call, there's like this giant beam that you have in the ceiling of your roof. It has a very specific name. It's kind of like, it's not a load-bearing beam. It has a very specific name. It's like this giant thick. It's kind of like the studs that you can drill into and past your drywall. But anyways, so I had this idea of making this home gym, and once I get like a pull-up bar installed in there, I think it's going to be perfect for me. I'll be able to do my push-pull legs routine that I normally do, where like you can do legs anywhere. Like you don't really need equipment. I know that you want, like, doing barbell squats, it is great, especially for legs and all that. But even if you just do like body weight squats, Hindu squats, lunges, like there's so many leg exercises that you can do without equipment. So I feel like that there's no excuse for why you can't do legs, right? Like legs are so easy. And even push-ups, like push exercises, like you don't need a bench and dumbbells. Like you can just do regular push-ups. You can do wide grip, or not wide grip, wide, what do you call it when, like, just, I guess, normal push-ups, wide push-ups, diamond push-ups. Like there's all different types of push-ups you can do. But when it comes to pull, right, that's when it gets a little tough. That's when you need something, right? You need some equipment, because you can't pull on anything where it's just your body. Like you need a pull-up bar, or you need some like resistance bands, or some dumbbells, or a barbell. Like you need something to do pull. And so I really want to get the pull-up bar installed, because I have those ones that go in the doorway, and you know, those ones are kind of like a death trap, and none of them fit in my new house. But yeah, hopefully the home gym gets built soon. Doing good. I'm deadlifting 265 currently. I didn't bench a lot. Oh, your bench is a lot stronger than your deadlift. See, like when I was really doing a lot of barbell work, I had that natural progression where my weakest was bench press, and then my second was squats, and then my strongest was deadlifts. I can't remember what my squat was, but I think my bench was 195, I think, or 190, and then my squat was like 265, and then my deadlift was like 335. It was something like that. Like there was this very linear progression when it came to those three lifts. I don't know if it's because of my body type, I guess, but like for me, benching was always the biggest struggle. It was always such a struggle for me to build up my bench. I do miss deadlifting though. I miss like going to the gym and then just getting a really good deadlift session in. The only thing I've heard a lot of information about, you know, deadlifts being like a risky movement to practice, especially with the amount of injury that you can incur on your back. I think your lower back, right? But I don't think that any movement is inherently bad if you just practice good form, right? And I used to do, in the beginning, I used to like deadlift very light, right? Because I didn't have good form. But like, you know, over the years, you know, if you deadlift consistently for like 3-4 years, like and you work on your form, and what I would do is I would put my phone on the rack and just have it like record myself, and then I would just do the deadlift, and I would look at like my posture of my back. I would look at my hips, like when my knees would bend. Like I would like really look at my form, and I would compare that to instructional videos online, and then I would work on it that way. No, my bench is at 220. Yeah, see, your bench is so strong, dude. 220? And your deadlift is 45 more than your bench. Like for me, my deadlift, it was like 150 pounds more than my bench. Like there's a huge disparity there. Next Monday, Krav Maga is starting again, and I will practice grappling once a week. Damn, that's awesome, bro. That's super cool. That must be like such a good workout. Yeah, I would love to. Like I've always been thinking of like adding something, like learning a martial art or signing up for something, especially like with my kids, right? Like I've always wanted to like take jujitsu classes, for example, because you kind of have that mental stimulation of problem solving. But like the problem with that is like all things in life, right? It's finding the time, you know, to put that into your day, to schedule that in. And that was what was holding me back for a while. But now it's like cost, like the cost of, you know, signing up for classes. I don't know what it's like in France, but I'm sure the whole world is feeling this recession that we're going through. And I know like the US, they don't like to call it a recession, but you know, that's what it basically is, right? Because like a recession is what, 2/4 of GDP loss, or whatever the opposite of growth would be that you want to call it. And, you know, like times are tough. Inflation is at an all-time high. Wages are, you know, pretty stagnant from what I can see. You know, gas is crazy. Groceries are crazy. Like everyone is feeling the pressure and the cost of living. You know, where having like that extra money to do, you know, MMA or a hobby or skill, it's tough, right? It's tough for people nowadays. And so it's one that, unfortunately, you know, I don't think I'll be able to do anytime soon, especially with buying a house and just trying to afford like mortgages and taxes and oh my gosh, and just, you know, maintaining things. It's you know, it's tough, right? And this can also fall back onto like mental health too, right? Like I don't know how the average person nowadays is going to be able to afford like a decent living financially with how everything is set up. Like if you look at cost of living, rent, mortgages, just like finding a place to live is just so expensive. And then add in all the taxes that you incur, plus food and gas and transportation, and add all of that stuff, right? Like how much money do people have left to do activities that they love? And if people don't have that escape, you know, to do things that they love after work and after the day job and after paying all their bills, you know, people's mental health can deteriorate. And it's something that, you know, I think about a lot now. I'm like, man, it's tough, especially for young people too. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is for things like the economy, but it's definitely one that I think about a lot. Jiu-Jitsu is clearly the best grappling martial art. In France, for a year of Krav Maga classes, which was 2 lessons a week and grappling once a week, it cost me 280 euros. Dang, 200. See, that's a lot, man. Euros is like 1.4 or 1.5 Canadian dollars. Like 280 euros. That's probably like close to $400 for me. Let's go euro to Canadian. So like 1.4. Okay, it's 1.3. 1.31. So 280 euros, 366 Canadian dollars for me. Bro, like that's expensive, man. Shit. Like 366 bucks. So like how often do you go to? Krav Maga is 2 lessons a week, so twice a week. And grappling once a week cost me 280. Doesn't include equipment, so you also have to buy equipment. Actually, so you get 3 lessons a week. See, I'm not too familiar with pricing of martial arts. Is that a good price, or is that reasonable, or is that expensive? Like I can't tell. But all I know is 280 euros. That's a lot in Canadian dollars, which sucks. That's another thing that's kind of tough. Like the Canadian dollar is so weak in comparison to like British pounds, euros, and the US dollar. It really sucks. It's good if you are, you know, European or American, then you come visit Canada, then you get like a bonus on your currency when you exchange it, which is super cool. Like, but if I want like 100 US dollars, it's gonna cost me like 125 Canadian, right? This is why I'm angry when old people telling the younger generation things like, younger people these days are lazy. By your age, I was blah, blah. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. There's this interesting concept I read once about generations, and it's that every generation always thinks that the one they came from was the best, and that the generations that came after them are lesser in some way. You know, so whether that's like the baby boomers, like my parents, or myself, who's in the millennials, or the people now that are like Gen Z. Is it Gen Z? And there's always like this bias you have towards your own generation, where and it comes from a place where you don't understand, right? You don't understand what the new generation is going through. Like, I know old people say things like, oh, we used to, play outside all day. We didn't have video games, and, we learned all these trades, and we, really had, we had properties, and we knew the value of owning a home, and we would buy things. And it's like, yeah, okay, sure. But like in your generation, you could have one parent working a full-time job, which is usually the dad, the male, and then you'd have the wife that could like stay home and take care of like 6 kids, and you could buy a detached house, right? Like this was my grandparents, right? Like my grandpa worked, my grandma stayed home. They had like 6 kids in a detached house, where I remember they told me the down payment for the house was like $500, and like the total price of the house was like, I don't know, 20 something thousand or 15,000. And it's like, there is no way in hell you can do that now to survive off one income, unless you're like some super baller CEO. It doesn't matter if you're like a tradesman. Like I know like electricians, plumbers, carpenters, they make good money now, right? Because trades are in demand, which is what my grandfather did. But like you can't do that now off one income, have like 6 kids and own a detached house. It's just not possible. There's no way you can do that. Like if you want a detached house, like say my area, right? I'm not even in downtown. I'm outside of the downtown core. I'm north of Toronto. You're looking at $2 million. $2 million if you want a house, and probably like $6,000 to $7,000 property tax every year, right? So like that difference from generation to generation is huge. It's massive. Like there's so many differences where it's not fair to compare, right? So I know what you mean, Baptiste, when you get angry when the older generations say things like that. But it's because they lack perspective, right? That's simply what it is. They lack perspective because they haven't thought it through. And it's tough, right? Because it's hard to convince those people otherwise. It depends on which sport or hobby you're participating, but the most expensive in France is music lessons. Oh, that's interesting. I wanted to learn the trumpet when I was a kid. A year was 600 euros, and you have to buy the instrument. Oh, man. Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, I want to get back into music. I can play the piano. I took piano lessons for how long? Like 8-10 years. Like I took piano lessons for a long time. I would love to get back into that because it's funny. It was like one of the creative arts, I guess you would say, that I did as a child, and I never really appreciated it because I wasn't into creative writing or cameras. I wasn't into any of this stuff when I was younger. But the one creative thing I did was I played the piano, which is kind of cool now in hindsight. As I know how to play an instrument, but when I was younger, I didn't care. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. It was just something that I did because my parents signed me up for, and it was kind of cool at first. But you just don't appreciate it in the moment. And so it's sort of funny how like life comes full circle. And now I love to do creative things. I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I should go out and buy a piano one day and get back into it. Because that'd be super cool to even like say I compose my own songs. Like I got to a level where I could probably write my own music, which would be pretty shitty. But I could still like maybe, make a couple piano songs and use that music for my videos on YouTube. And that'd be super cool. Right? That'd be really like a very interesting part of the creative process. But again, it's like time, right? Time, money. It's so difficult to prioritize all these things you want to do in life. Like I say, like I want to get back into music. right? I want to learn a martial art. Maybe I want to learn a language, like French. I want to learn French because we're going to teach our daughter French, and we're going to have her go to a French immersion school. So like, again, it's like there's all these things I want to do, right? But it's so difficult to prioritize and manage your time effectively in order to, pursue all these endeavors. One of my goals in life is to one day buy for my dad his dream guitar. Oh, that's super cool. I like that. Which costs 2,000 oh my god, 2,400 euros. How much is that Canadian? 24.40. Oh man, 3,200 Canadian for a guitar. Yeah, that's a lot. Hey man, that'd be super cool though. Like, that'd be awesome. Right? If you get that guitar for your dad, like, imagine how happy he'll be. That look on his face. That's an awesome goal to have. I really like that, because that's like a selfless goal, right? Like, people forget that doing nice things, it's actually a selfish act, because the happiness that you get out of it's massive, right? And I love that feeling, when you do something nice for other people. It makes you feel good on the inside, right? Because you're doing something that will make someone's day, right? And then, especially if you were to buy your dad's dream guitar, that'd be super cool. Super, super cool. And it's not like we're talking about $100,000. Like, you can get there, 2,400 euros. That's definitely attainable. Just keep grinding, bro. Just keep grinding, saving up. You're on the right path, from what I can see. But maybe get it for a birthday. Like, a significant birthday would be cool. Like a milestone. I think that'd be a great time to buy your dad their dream guitar, his dream guitar. I think that'd be super cool. Like, obviously I don't know how old your dad is, but let's say, well, you're like 20, right? So say if your dad is like, I don't know, in his 50s, maybe like he hits 55 or 60, or I don't know, like a milestone birthday, I think would be super, super cool. But damn, what kind of guitar costs 2,400 euros? I don't even know anything about musical instruments and the price. Like, obviously there are those like vintage guitars that are super, super expensive, like, that are, I guess, collector's items. So, but again, like, how much would those cost? I don't really know. I recently bought concert tickets for his birthday. I am so impatient to see his reaction. My dad is 52, and I want to buy him for his 60th. Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah, so he's 52. So if he's 52 now, you got 8 years to save up for his guitar. Oh, the concert tickets is cool though. Well, so then your dad is like, sounds like a super musical dude. Like, does he do, like, is his job in the field of music? Or is just like playing the guitar and music like his passion, like his hobby? The guitar is I don't know how to say that. The guitar, let me attempt. The Fender Stratocaster Clapton oh my god, I'm just gonna Google that. Fender Stratocaster Clapton. Five out of 5 stars, 367 reviews. Oh, that looks pretty cool. Clapton, is that like Eric Clapton? Clapton. Oh yeah, it is. Eric Clapton Stratocaster. Stratocaster? Probably butchering that. Damn, it looks pretty cool. It's like black, it's all black and then the middle part is white. By the, you call it the fretboard? Is that what it is? I have no knowledge when it comes to guitars. I don't even know what I'm talking about. It looks pretty cool. It's like a dope ass guitar. I think the only time I knew anything about guitars was from Guitar Hero. Yeah, I remember when that was like a super popular video game. Everyone was playing Guitar Hero on those plastic guitars. No, it's his hobby. Oh, okay. Yeah, he'll love that, dude. He'll love that. That's super cool. So I'm guessing 2,400 euro. That's brand new. Do people buy used guitars, or is it always just brand new? I'm assuming brand new. Like, where do you buy this? Fender.com. Oh my gosh, this website has some crazy stuff. The American Professional too. Stratocaster. Oh my gosh, there's one here for like $27,000. Oh man, that's a that's a car. You could buy a guitar or buy a car. Oh. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I have no appreciation for like I'm looking at these guitars and I can appreciate like the craftsmanship and like the look and the design, but I don't know what makes it valuable. Like I look at the $27,000 one and I look at this Clapton Stratocaster and it's like they almost like look the same to me. I don't know what's the difference. Like the $27,000 one, it has like, instead of it being black, it's like rosewood and sunburst, whatever that is. And I'm sure that's not even the most expensive. Like, what's the most expensive guitar? It's probably wild. Fender is like the Lamborghini of guitar. They only sell new. Oh, okay, I see. That's interesting. So Fender's like the high-end model or brand. That's pretty cool. Like there must be a reason why. Like the sound that it produces, is it a lot cleaner? I'm guessing. Or is it just like the craftsmanship, like the attention to detail and the quality of the guitar? Like here, there's some other ones here. Fender Stratocaster Nas Black, $13,000. It's all blacked out. Oh my gosh. Huh. Actually, I wonder how much pianos are now. Because I was thinking, like, I used to have like an old school piano where I don't know what you would call it. You'd hit the key and then that little hammer would hit on the inside, like a real piano, right? Not an electric one. But the problem with those is it would always have to get tuned. It would have to get tuned up, and there was like all this like maintenance and stuff. And the problem with owning like a real piano, it's big and bulky and heavy, and it took up so much space in my parents' house. And I remember when they retired and they moved and they wanted to sell the house, it was so hard to get rid of that piano. Like they're trying to sell it, and then no one would buy it, and then I couldn't obviously take it with me to this where I was moving to. And it was like this this whole ordeal about having like a real piano. Of course, it sounds nice, like, and it's nice to have aesthetically in your house. Like it's super, so it looks super cool, right? But it's like the practicality of it is horrible, right? And I hated it. And I'm someone that, you know, really believes in this sort of like minimalism movement, right? And so when I was thinking about getting a piano, I was like, man, I think I should get one of those like electric ones, right? Where you just plug in. And I'm sure nowadays the technology has advanced to where electric keyboards or pianos or whatever you call them now, they must be pretty good. Because back in my day when I was playing, you know, this was like 30 years ago, like electric keyboards were like, they're so shit. Like the keys weren't weighted. They were like this really cheap, clunky piece of plastic you could just smash away at. It had no weight to the keys, right? So it was so hard to play with feel and to control the loudness or the softness of the notes. And so I was like, man, I don't know. I don't know what to do. And then I kind of like lost interest in playing, and then like went to university, and the habit or the hobby kind of just fell out of favor, and I just sort of just quit playing altogether. But now it's like, you know, again, you know, older in life, I kind of appreciate it more. Like music is something, it's very soothing. It's something that I enjoy. Like even right now on this stream, I love listening to piano music on this stream. Like this playlist at the bottom that I play from, it's just all classical piano, and it's something that I love listening to, not just when I stream but also when I write, especially when I write scripts for YouTube videos or I write for my website and the newsletter. I just love classical music. Something about it is just so relaxing. It's so soothing, and it really helps me with the creative process and really helps me think. And so like, man, I would love it if I could just maybe buy some type of electric piano keyboard, maybe put it on the table here by my podcast studio that I'm still trying to build out. Or maybe even like maybe one of my kids would want to learn the piano. Who knows? But I wonder what the prices are. What do you even call it? Electronic digital piano. Because, oh yeah, the pedals too. I forgot about the damper pedals. I'd like to have one that I could just sort of like put on my desk. That'd be super cool. But also you need the damper pedals too though. That's the... So... Oh, at least these keyboards are a lot cheaper than your dad's guitar. We'll see. We'll see one day if we have the time and money. 100% true? What's up, dude? Bro, please do me a favor. Go to Google right now, and for the images of a boxer named Joseph Parker. You look exactly like him. Am I being trolled? What? Joseph Parker? Let's indulge. If I'm being trolled, I'll have a good laugh. What was it? Joseph Parker? Who? Let's have a good laugh here. Let's get trolled. Joseph Parker, New Zealand professional boxer? Really? What on earth? What? Dude's from New Zealand, bro. I look like this guy? Maybe if, has he ever had a beard? What's this guy's background? Is it just New Zealand? Like, what do Like, what's a nationality of people from like Australia and New Zealand? Do they just consider themselves Australian? Because like here, like in Canada, so few people here consider themselves Canadian. Like, I never hear anyone ever say like, "Oh, I'm Canadian." Like, it's always like, "Oh, I'm Italian," or "I'm Jamaican," or "I'm Indian," and it's always like, it's more about like where they came from, right? That's a place I'd love to go to. Man, New Zealand. The only problem is though, like, say you fly there, how long is that flight? Like 20 hours? Like, that'd be rough, dude. Hey, Corsair. What's up, dude? Hey, Derek, it's been a while. How's the YouTube grind, bro? Haven't seen you post a video in a while. Oh, you're probably back to school, right? You know what I noticed? All of you young guys on YouTube, a lot of you kind of stopped posting videos. I'm assuming it's because you had to go back to school. I was talking to this other guy that comes on the channel sometimes, Swen, and he told me, he's like, yeah, he's not going to have much time to make content anymore because he has to, you know, school semester is starting up again. But good to see you, dude. Keep up the grind, bro. Keep it up. Australian equals Aussie and New Zealander equals Kiwi. Oh, okay, that's it. Aussie. Oh yeah, Aussies. But what if like... that's interesting. Oh yeah, that's why people from New Zealand always give me shit for my videos about Kiwis. Like, I have these... I don't know if it's 2 or 3 videos talking about eating kiwis and the health benefits of eating kiwis. And all these like people from New Zealand are just like shitting on me, and I couldn't figure out why. I'm like what's like, I know you guys are called kiwis, right? And I'm like, why are you getting upset? And it's because technically you're supposed to call kiwis kiwi fruit, and that kiwi it doesn't mean the fruit in New Zealand. It means a bird. Like, kiwi is like an actual bird in New Zealand. And I was like, oh. I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, you're supposed to call the bird the kiwi, and then the fruit, the brown fuzzy fruit, the kiwi fruit. Like, there's supposed to be a clear distinction there. And I was like, I've never heard of that before. It was so funny because I'm going through the comments and just getting roasted for talking about eating kiwis. And like, oh, you're not eating a bird. You're saying it wrong. And I was like so confused. That's funny. Oh, I've been in the market for cameras and microphones. Hey, bro, that's my specialty, I guess. I love all that stuff. Camera gear. Oh man, that's my thing. That's one of my passions in life. And yeah, school is there, but I'm making myself a schedule to become effective on YouTube, self-improvement, and school. Yeah, school's tough, right? Because you're 17? I can't remember. One of your videos you said how old you were. I think you were 17. So what is that? Grade 10? Or 11? So you're looking at like senior high school? I'm guessing. Is that right? But yeah, like I'm trying to balance school plus YouTube and self-improvement. Yeah, that's difficult. Especially if you have like a side part-time job. You know, just like to have some spending money. It's hard, dude. You got to make a really rigid schedule and manage your time properly. And also you have to like manage your social life as well, right? Like, high school is an important time to make relationships and bond with your friends. Like, those are some of the greatest moments in your life that, you know, you don't want to waste, because, you know, when you grow up, you're gonna miss those things, right? Yep, I'm 16, 11th grade junior. Okay, yeah, so like what, grade 9 is 14. Yeah, so grade 11, 16. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, see, when I was 16, I used to work like a part-time job after school. And it wasn't like a part-time job like, you know, like 3 or 4 hours. It'd be like an 8-hour shift. It'd be like a full 8-hour day after going to school all day. So it's like so hard to balance your life. And it was difficult because like I was trying to save up money for school, for university, right? And it was like the only thing I could do. So especially if, you know, like if you value education, like if you value doing well in high school, you know, but also trying to, you know, build up your YouTube channel, trying to stay with your workout routine, you know, document your progress, you know, build good habits. If you try to do all those things at once and have a social life, you know, and maintain relationships with your friends and go out on the weekends or whatever you guys want to do, it's so difficult to do all those things at the same time. So trust me, I get it, bro. I get it. And the one good thing about YouTube, it's like it's always going to be here, right? You could always just maybe take a break, and then maybe there's a week where you don't have much homework, for example, and then maybe bang out 3 or 4 videos on a weekend, right? And then sort of space them out. You could even post them bi-weekly, so you have 2 months worth of content, right? So there's a lot you can do. Why didn't your parents pay for your varsity? That's a good question. Varsity. Let me just make sure I'm going to answer your question right. Varsity is like a word we never use in Canada, but it's just like school, right? Like university, I guess. Varsity, principal squad representing a university, college, school, or club, especially in sports. Yeah, so my parents had this thing. I think this is right. They were going to pay for half of my tuition, I believe, and so I'd have to come up with the other half. And the problem is, like, I didn't qualify for student loans, and a part of that was because, like, my dad, he was a very hardworking man. Like, he worked really hard. I think he worked like 3 jobs all at the same time, right? And because of that, you know, he was trying to make money to provide us with a better life, because in those days interest rates were like 18%. So people were working like 2-3 jobs in order to just pay off their house and mortgage, right? But because of that inflated income, you don't really qualify for student loans here in Canada if your parents earn a certain income bracket. And so they work to save up money for education, and not just for me, but for my brother as well. And I think the deal was they pay half and we pay the other half. And so what I did was I would just work as much as I can. And at that time I was making $8 an hour, I think it was $8 an hour. And I would build lawnmowers and snowblowers and patio furniture and stuff like that. Like that was like the part-time job I was doing, kind of like at a Home Depot type store, right? Just one of those home hardware type of places. And so that's why I kind of worked and to save money to pay for post-secondary education. But it was all for naught, because eventually I just dropped out and found it useless. So all those years struggling ended up being a waste. I think I'm getting closer to achieving balance between all that said. My social life is really good, making friends wherever I go in school. Oh, that's really good. Yeah, having a good circle of friends is super, super important. You know, and this is where, like, I really feel for kids, that struggle to make friends, that don't have like a good group of friends. Maybe they're unpopular, maybe they're an outcast, and maybe kids bully them. That type of stuff. It's really sad. It's really tough, because if you're someone that doesn't have any problems socially, especially like in high school, right, you kind of brush off those kids that you don't want to hang around with, or maybe you don't see the struggles that they have. But like having a core group of friends was huge, right? And for me, I was lucky. Like, I have about 5 guys now that I've known since grade 1, and we all keep in touch. They were actually at my house a couple weeks ago. They all have kids just like me. There's like 9 kids running around in my backyard with all my elementary school friends. So Yeah, friendships are important, man, and you build those bonds in university, or not university, in college. Or not college, what am I saying? In high school. I can't talk. I just stopped YouTube because I'm preparing to upgrade my content even further. Yeah, that's good, man. You can always take a break, take a break and come back and work on it. Like I said, YouTube will always be here. It'll always be here. Dropped out. So what are you doing with your life now? Yeah, so I went to school for like computer science. I was into like computer programming, computer engineering. I was basically like a super nerd. I would like build computers and like be all in on video games and all that type of stuff. So I went to university for it, found out that I hated it, mainly because the university system is so stupid. My perception was that I'm going to university to study computer science or computer engineering because that is what I want to specialize in. That is what I love to do. And so I went, and then I had to take history, geography, sociology, theology, and all these other stupid social science and English and language classes that I hated. I hated all that stuff. And so I failed all those classes. Like I failed history, I failed sociology, I failed English, I failed literature, all those elective courses. I failed all of them. But I was very strong in the maths, sciences, physics, algebra, calculus, programming, all those courses I was really good in. But I bombed in everything else. And it caused me to go into temporary suspended status or probation. And my status has kept going lower and lower and lower because I couldn't pass any of these classes. Because like in high school, I'd have like high 80s, low 90s in the maths. Like my grades were really, really high. But then in English and all those other courses, I'd have like 55, 57. So like when you looked at my grades in high school, they were like super, super high or just like barely passing, right? And so I thought like going to university, I could just focus on the things that I was good at and what I love to do. But here they're like, no. You have to be a well-rounded, balanced human being. So you still have to take these elective classes, even in post-secondary education. And it was part of the university curriculum. And because of that, it just killed my status as a student and eventually went in probation, went suspended. And I had to go through this whole process of trying to get reinstated. And I was just like, fuck this. This is, I don't want to do this. I don't want to have to go to summer school and pay for all this stuff. It was like so dumb. And I just hated the whole process. And so what I learned is that I was really into entrepreneurial stuff. So I dropped out 18. I had a business for 9 years, from 18 to 27. Super successful business that did really well. Eventually, like all good things come to an end, and then it eventually failed. So 27 was the first year where I had to get a real job in the workforce, which I got. So it's kind of funny because I've like bounced around. But what's interesting is by quitting university in the second year, I didn't have any student debt. I had no student loans. Like I had nothing. Like I said, I was working. If you only pay for textbooks for 1 year and tuition, I paid it all off and I had no debt. And so now I could go out and try things. I could try a business. I could try a passion in that I want to pursue. I could travel the world, right? I could just do all these different things. And whereas my friends, they're kind of stuck in this one path, right? But for them, financially, it worked out because if you go to university, you get a degree, normally you start a good, higher paying job. Whereas me, when I was 27, I had to get a day job. I had to start entry level. So we're talking like $16 an hour at the time. My friends at that age, they're making probably double, $32, $35 an hour and higher because of like their engineering degrees and education. So it definitely hurt me financially that I didn't finish my education, but it made me so much more happier because I got to try all these different things. I got to try all these businesses, and I got to live a life through my 20s that I loved, right? And I'm right now, I'm not stuck in one field of work. I do all different kinds of things. I do the stream, I do the YouTube channel, I do videography, right? Video editing. I have like a day job at like a normal company. Like there's all these different things that I can do. And even though I don't make as much money as my peers or friends financially, like I'm so much more happy. I don't have that dread of waking up every day and like, oh, I gotta go to the 9 to 5. Gotta go in the same office with the same people and the same stupid boss. Like I don't have any of that. And then I love it. Right. So, but again, the drawback was, you know, from 18 up until now, it has been a huge struggle. It's been a massive, massive struggle. Damn, I hated college so much when I tried it. So many topics I didn't care of. I'm glad that in France they job-oriented studies. Oh, that's good. Job-oriented. We have a thing called co-op, which is what I really wanted to do. When you make it past second year into third, you can, for one of your semesters, work for a company in your field and get real life work experience, which is like it's huge, right? It's huge for the real world. And so it's a great thing to do. Like getting real world experience is massive, right? Because if you look at the job market, everyone wants 5 years experience, right? If everyone needs people or students or young adults that are experienced in their field of work, how are they going to get that experience if they never hire anyone that's entry level, right? And there's this stupid perpetual cycle that happens where everyone just wants people who are experienced, right? So by going to college or university with a program that offers co-op or offers options, you can get that real world experience, and that's invaluable, right? That's massive. That's like a massive, massive advantage, is having real world experience. You know, and that's something that kind of I use to my advantage, right? Because I have all kinds of experience in a wide array of fields. Damn, bro, I enjoy listening to you. Hey, thanks, dude. Just ranting and raving about things in life. What countries have you been to? Okay, so, oh man, I've been all over the place. So I've been to, in Europe, I've been to Switzerland, Germany, Austria, and Italy. In Asia, I've been to China, South Korea, Japan, and Thailand. And then in the US, Hawaii, California, Florida, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, New York, Vermont. Where else have I been in the US? Some more places. Been to more places in the US. Kind of been all over, you know, kind of been all over traveling. And like a huge part of that is, you know, like entrepreneurship. Like 2 weeks ago, with this whole videography stuff, I went to Michigan, to Detroit, Michigan, for the Detroit Tigers, you know, the Major League Baseball team, with my friend. And they wanted us to come down and make some TikTok videos for the Detroit Tigers TikTok or Instagram page, right? And again, like these are opportunities that, you know, working a regular 9 to 5 day job, I never would have had. So a couple of weeks ago, I drove down to Detroit with my friend. For me, it's about like a 4-hour drive because we're close to the border, right? So, you know, drove down, got to, you know, like on the field before the baseball game started. We're like making TikTok videos with a mascot. Like it was crazy, like a crazy experience. People from the stands like, who are these two guys? They're just freaking making TikTok videos and before a Major League Baseball game, right? So it was like, it's just so many cool things, right? That comes from living a wild life like that I've lived up until this point. And like even like when I said like from 18 to 27, I started my own business, right? That was like a professional poker playing gambling business, right? So I was traveling to like Las Vegas to play in the World Series of Poker. I traveled to the Bahamas to play in like the Poker Stars Caribbean Adventure at the Nassau Atlantis Resort or whatever. Like all kinds of craziness in my life that I've been able to experience because of like these massive risks that I've taken, right? Now, not all of them worked out financially, right? Like a lot of them were poor financial decisions, but these are very valuable life experiences that I've kind of gone through and had this like wild life up to this point. And again, it's made me very happy, you know, and grateful that I didn't just conform to the safe way of living. I took a more riskier path. I'm from South Africa, but currently in South Korea. Oh, yo, South Korea is lit, bro. I love South Korea. You know what's awesome about South Korea? Like when you think of like Korean food, you always think of like Korean barbecue, right? Or kamjatang, the pork bone soup, or the kimchi jjigae or japchae or whatever, like those sweet potato noodles. But I remember when we went to South Korea, we really wanted to try like the authentic South Korean fried chicken, because we have that here. We have like South Korean fried chicken, right? Like it's super spicy. It's like, you know, super crispy. It's delicious, right? So we're in, I don't know if it was Seoul. Maybe it was in Seoul. And we went to the spot where they had like real authentic South Korean fried chicken. And then we went and they literally took the whole chicken and deep fried the whole thing. Neck, head, feet, and everything. And I remember I had this one piece. It looked like a giant tube. And I was like, what the hell piece is this? Like, it's not a wing. It's not a thigh. It's not a breast. Like what piece is this? And we found out it's like the neck. And I was like, what? Like, I had like fried chicken neck. So like that was just like, I'm like, what is going on? It's so crazy. But yeah, when we were in South Korea, like it was awesome. Like even on what was that Netflix movie or show with those dudes with the black mask and the pink suit that Mr. Beast made a video about? It was like that game show with all those people. Oh my gosh, Squid Game. Yeah, the Squid Games. Remember in Squid Game, there was that one challenge where they had that cookie, like that dark brown cookie, and they had to get the pin and cut out the picture of like the umbrella or the star. And it was funny because when I watched the Squid Game, I was like, oh, I remember those cookies. It's like this, I don't know what it's made of, but it's like sweet. It's like made out of sugar. And I remember there'd be like these vendors on the street in Korea where you buy it from like the street vendors. And I was like, oh, it's like this super cool cookie thing. And then it was so funny because years later I see it in Squid Game as part of this challenge. And it's like, oh, it just brings up memories of being in South Korea. It was such an awesome country. Super, I don't know if you would call it underrated, but I feel like I know South Korea has like, you know, this huge influence when it comes to like K-pop music and, you know, StarCraft and gaming. Like, you know, there's lots of great stuff. Samsung, like coming out of Korea. But man, like I feel like South Korea is not appreciated enough. It's such an awesome place. I loved it. I just remembered that you were interested in having a podcast with me, and I was interested in contacting you, but I couldn't find any of your business contacts. Yeah, just my full name at gmail.com. I don't know if you can write links in here, but if you go to my YouTube page on the About, view email address, it's just derekbearsy@gmail.com. Yeah, dude, let me know. I'm always looking for podcast guests, especially those people that are in self-improvement, because I know what it's like to start a YouTube channel in the beginning. It's very hard. I think it's very hard to grow, right? I remember like when I had 10 subscribers and after a year I had like 150. Like it's so hard. And I was always like, you know what? If one day if I could like build a self-improvement community, maybe start a podcast, I'd love to have, you know, other self-improvement YouTubers on who are in that beginning phase, you know, maybe like help them out, give them a boost, right? You know, I think that's an important way to give back to the community that I care about, because like, you know, self-improvement is not just a selfish thing. It's not just about me improving myself. It's also you want to share ideas that can help other people as well in their journey through life. Like that's the whole intent of self-improvement. And if I make a podcast, which I did, you know, it's not for selfish reasons. Like my YouTube channel, it's like something that I want to grow. It's part of my business. I want to like grow it financially, you know, all these type of things. But like the podcast, it's something that I want to do not just for fun, but also as a proxy to give back to the community and help others, you know, maybe help other people promote their work, or maybe we can have some conversations, you know, about the self-improvement journey, right? So yeah, if you want to be on, man, just let me know. Just email me, or maybe I'll try to find your email and we can figure it out. When are you visiting South Africa? Oh, interesting is I think my dad wants to go there. My dad's like a photographer, and it's sort of like part of where this whole creative flair comes from. It's like my dad's a super artistic guy, and one of the things that he loves to do is like travel photography. Like he loves to just travel and just take pictures of stuff. It's like one of his passions in life. And I don't know, South Africa, maybe in the future. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see, bro. I have to go, Derek. Tomorrow I'm going to record a huge sports event in my town and make an after movie. Yo, nice, bro. Let me know how it turns out. Have a good weekend, Batiste. Thanks for stopping by, bro. Always love catching up with you. And keep crushing the Krav Maga sessions. Beast, bro. And the bench press 220. Damn. You're almost at 2 plates. But yeah, traveling. I've actually haven't really given much thought to it recently because obviously like COVID, right? The pandemic and the shutdown and the travel restrictions. And that whole thing is like such a mess. And the only reason I know this is because like for my day job, I work by the airport. And so in Toronto, like where I live, there's like one, there's another smaller airport, but there's one like major airport here. And whenever I'm at work and I go there, it's such a mess. Like flying in and out of Canada right now, it's so bad. There's so many like lost luggages, like shortage of staff. Peace, man. Yeah, Batiste. Always love talking, bro. You're always an inspiration. I love it, dude. Thanks, man. Thanks. Always appreciate the kind words. But yeah, like traveling to Canada in and out of Toronto is horrendous right now. Like part of my day job is kind of like picking up packages, right? Because I'm a courier. And so we'd go to the terminals and there's like a warehouse full of lost, unclaimed luggages. Because a big part of that is like these airlines, they laid off all their staff because of the travel restrictions from 2020 through today because of the pandemic, right? Because Canada locked down things really hard. And so what happened is these airline companies lost so much money because no one could fly. So naturally they would have to lay off staff to cut costs. And now that the restrictions have lifted, they're reaching out to those staff they fired and they're, oh, hey, you want your job back? You want to work? And now those people are saying, no, well, you fired me. Like, screw you. I found a different job. I started a new career. I'm not going back. You guys treated me so poorly. So now there's this massive staffing issue when it comes to the airport where a plane will land and it will just sit there on the runway for an hour or two because they don't have the staff to properly connect the plane to that dock to offload the passengers, which is crazy, which is so crazy. So for the past couple of years, like traveling has been something I'm just like, I'm just not going to do it. Like if it's within driving distance to like Detroit, like what I said, then sure, I'll do that. But flying out of Canada right now is just horrendous. It's like the whole experience is just terrible. And like I don't know what you're gonna do, right? Like what are you gonna do if people are refusing those jobs, right? Like how can they recover? Like I guess the current staff that you do have, you're probably gonna have to offer them more hours, maybe pay them time and a half, pay them overtime, pay them double pay. Like you have to do something, right? Because these jobs are clearly posted. Like if you want to work for Air Canada, which is our major airline, right? There's all types of jobs you can get because they're just desperate for staff, but no one wants it. No one wants to do it. So our airport has like a major staffing issue where if you want to fly international, right? Like say if your flight is at 9 a.m., right? And you fly out of YYZ, which is Toronto, and wherever you're going internationally. your flight's at 9. They've been recommending you show up at 3, like 6 hours before your flight takes off, because the lineup to check your luggage, get through customs, get your boarding pass, get to the gate, load you in the plane, is taking like 5-6 hours. And it was just so crazy. It's so crazy. Like, imagine you have to be 6 hours early for a flight just to make it on time. Like, who wants to do that? Like, who's going to want to travel in their right mind, right? So, unfortunately for me, like, that's a state of the situation in my country. And again, I know this only because I work there, right? I work by the airport. I see it every day, right? I'm by the terminals. I'm by the runway, right? I see the disaster that they have there. So, yeah, it kind of sucks because traveling is kind of like it's like a no-go right now, which is a little unfortunate. But my plan is to sort of just wait it out, because hopefully over time they'll resolve some of the staffing issues. So, and we'll see what happens. Maybe it will require a stimulus from the government. Like, maybe the government will have to try to bail them out or something. I don't know. Maybe they'll have to increase wages, improve the benefits, increase job security. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what it's going to take to fix a problem that we have. But it's definitely one that affects people's desire to go and travel internationally. But yeah, so that's the day job. The day job is interesting though, because it gives me perspective. And again, I got super lucky. Like, I'm really, really lucky with like the kind of job that I do. It's not like the highest paying, and it's basically kind of like a form of physical labor where I'm driving around lifting heavy boxes, right? However, there is this tremendous benefit I stumbled upon where, no one likes to do a labor job where you're lifting boxes up to 75 pounds, right? But it's not like I'm lifting all day. I like drive to a location, lift a bunch of stuff, load up the truck, and drive off. But still, you get like a pretty good, physical workout if you're lifting 50, 60 pound boxes. And we're talking about like airplane parts. Like, sometimes I go to the airport and picking up like the windshield of the airplane, or part of the engine or the wing. So we're talking about really, really heavy stuff. But what happens after that is, I have to drive around, maybe to the next company, and there's like 5, 10, 15 minutes in between. And then I'm driving, and I would originally just listen to music, like most people do. You drive around, you just turn on the radio, or maybe you have your AirPods in, and you listen to Spotify on your phone. And I was like, why don't I start downloading audiobooks and just listen to audiobooks while I drive around for my shift? And then what I noticed was I could consume a tremendous amount of information in just 1 week's worth of work. And I could finish like massive, massive books in 1 or 2 weeks. And I was like, oh man, this is like amazing. Like, not only am I getting a physical workout from the day job, not only am I getting money from my wage, not only am I getting benefits, pension, vacation, healthcare, from the company, but also I can get an informal education through audiobooks while working and getting all these other benefits. And I was like, this is actually kind of cool, right? So I've tried to make the best I can out of a shitty situation, and it's really helped me out, because when it comes to this content creation stuff, even this live stream, the podcast, the YouTube videos that I make, a lot of the key concepts and ideas that I talk about, it's come from these books that I've consumed over the weeks and over the years and months and over all my shifts, and that's where this information comes, right? It's not like, I'm talking about, mental health or personal finance or philosophy, and these are just like ideas that come with on the spot. No, they're not. These are ideas that I've learned through reading from other people, right? And I've kind of taken their concepts and ideas, try to sift it through them, try to take what's good, what's bad, filter out the nonsense, find the ideas that I can learn from, and then regurgitate them in my videos and streams, and talk about the real world applications of them and why mental health is important. Why choosing a career that you love, following your passion, is more important than just following a career that you think that will support you financially, right? And not just considering post-secondary education as an only option, because there's many options now in life. You can get online courses, you can join Skillshare, Udemy, Kajabi, you can even sign up for online courses for university or college, you can learn stuff on YouTube. Like, the pathways of education now, they branch all over the world through the internet, and there's so many different ways that you can find success, not just monetarily through a salary or income, but also like finding a line of work that you love to do. And again, it's like real world experience. If you're like me and you don't have a post-secondary education, the best thing you can do is just get out there, do stuff, learn new things, try new jobs. Like, even for me, in the 10 years I've been with my company that I've been at, I've had 7 different positions, 7 different roles in 8 years. It wasn't just me being a courier. I worked in payroll, I worked in administration, I worked in Canada Customs, I worked in import documents, I worked in taxes. Like, I've worked in all these different fields because I've just been willing to try new things. And because of that, I have this tremendous amount of life experience that I can fall back on, that I can use because I lack that academic knowledge through a post-secondary degree or diploma. Right? And this is what I think is so important, especially in the self-improvement movement that I'm kind of promoting, is that there is the path to success and happiness isn't linear anymore. It's not like the 60s or 70s or 80s or whatever generation your parents grew up in, where it's like, go to school, go to college, get a degree, get a job, and that's it. Like, that was like the only path to success in life. And maybe your parents had a friend or two that opened like a t-shirt business or like a shoe shop, or maybe they had like a mom and pop restaurant. Like, those are generally like the two ways to be successful in life. But now it's like, you can do anything with like the internet. You can literally do anything. Like, it's so crazy the amount of possibilities that you have, that restricting yourself and thinking that there's only one way to success in life, it's crazy. It's so crazy. But all it takes is effort and the willingness to feel a little bit uncomfortable, right? Because that's what this is. Like going through school, college, university, getting a day job, it provides you with that security. You know exactly what you're going to get, right? You do your time, you get that piece of paper, you get a job, you get a wage, you get a salary. It's comfortable. You know what to expect, right? So it's a very appealing option for a lot of people. And unfortunately, they look down on people like us and myself, who are more open when it comes to forms of education. But if you are willing to feel uncomfortable and venture into the unknown and try new things and be willing to become a perpetual learner, and that's an idea that I've really applied to my life, is education doesn't end with school. Like, that's such a fool's way to look at the world, where you go to school, you finish college, and you're done. Like, I'm done with education. Now I just work and make money. That's such a bad way to look at the world. Education does not have an end date. And this is the core belief of the perpetual learner, is that you always want to be learning something. You always want to challenge yourself. And then you become almost addicted to that incremental success that you go through. Like, right now, when I try to learn new things, like, I love it. I'm like, oh man, I know the beginning, I'm going to struggle. Like, maybe I want to start this podcast or live stream or website or newsletter, like the newsletter I started. And in the beginning, of course, it's hard because you don't know what you're doing, right? You're struggling mightily. You have no idea how to write a newsletter. You don't know what to say. You don't know how to, distribute it. But then if you just like keep at it and just like keep watering that seed or that idea that you have, right? The outcome and what you get out of it is amazing. And so that's like an idea that I try to promote as best I can. And it's that there is no one way, right, to be successful in life. Of course, the high school, college, university lane is an option, and it's one that I believe that it works. Like, I'm not saying it doesn't work. Like, it definitely works for a large majority of people. However, the other option, the other tangent that you can take, like that I've taken myself, that can also work as well, right? And so I think it's good that we talk about many ideas and many ways that you can find success in life. Let's see what else is going on. Oh, 1:30. So yeah, the newsletter. I have a newsletter that I got to finish for this month. I've kind of been behind. It's sort of been tough staying consistent with all of the creative stuff, especially when you have a newborn. So yeah, podcast came out yesterday, number 38. So hopefully we can do more in the future. I reached out to a couple past guests that I had before that I really enjoyed talking to. So hopefully some of them will reply, but we'll see. What business ventures have you got into recently? To be perfectly honest, not too many. Like, outside of like the YouTube stuff, there's like this natural progression where you can kind of get jobs, freelance jobs, as like a videographer, filmmaker, or video editor. But in terms of like more like entrepreneurial stuff, I haven't really had time to kind of try all these other things that I've had on my to-do list, because like I said, I have a newborn and that's like 6 weeks old. So the career stuff has kind of been temporarily put on hold. But one thing you can really do, especially as a YouTube content creator, is you can leverage your skills with the camera and the editing software that you can use. And you can use those to find different possibilities for freelance work. And so, like I said earlier, it's like making TikToks for the Detroit Tigers was something, super cool. Even I've been working with my one friend, just even like being a behind the scenes shooter, like knowing how to operate a camera, right? Knowing proper frame rates, right? Proper bit rates, proper file sizes, doing audio, doing lighting. Like, these are all very important things for YouTube. And so you can take these skills that you gain passively, because even if you don't like cameras, by making YouTube videos, you are inherently getting better with filming. You're inherently getting better with talking and editing that footage. Like, these are all skills that you're just building, whether you like it or not, as long as you keep producing content. And so I've been trying to find ways to leverage these skills that I've used to try to find maybe other part-time jobs or maybe other freelance work or other like business ventures, like you said. Like, for example, there's like a 3D printing company that's close to my new house, and they had a job opening for a videographer editor, right? And I was like, perfect, right? And they're looking for like someone to manage your social media accounts. They want to like make YouTube videos, Instagram Reels, TikTok videos, YouTube Shorts. And I'm just like smiling, because like, this is all stuff that I do. This is all stuff that I do on a daily basis. And they even had a section like, bonus if you are a creative person that likes to write scripts and creative ideas and brainstorm with a group. I'm like, dude, I write scripts and brainstorm ideas for YouTube videos every single day. Like, if you look at my Google Docs tab on my phone or my computer, it's full of just like random scripts and ideas and writings for topics and titles that for future videos that I want to make. And again, it's like, these are all skills that I learned from just real world practice, from making YouTube videos for 4 years or whatever it's been, right? And so hopefully that transpires into working at a place that's close to my house, right? Maybe I can use that as a form of income to supplement my family in the meantime, right? Or maybe it can cause me to quit the other day job, and like maybe I can work at this one. Like, who knows? Like, the possibilities are endless, right? There's so many possibilities out there, which is super cool, because companies are going to realize that social media is everything. Like making commercials for television or radio is useless. It's useless. It's like an outdated system. No one wants that stuff. Like if you think about marketing, if you think about growing a business, building the business's brand, getting information out to find new customers, like what is the best thing to use to get results? And the answer is social media. It's social media by a mile. Everything else doesn't even come close. Like if you think about commercials on television, sure, maybe in the 90s where everyone was forced to watch TV and we all had to watch the commercials, and sure. But now, like, who watches TV? There's streaming, Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus. There's like all these streaming platforms, even just like YouTube, right? There's no commercials. HBO, right? And even if you do have regular television, like what my parents do, you record the TV episodes on your HDR box or whatever you call it, and then you can watch it later and just fast forward through the commercials, right? So like having a social media presence is massive for any brand, business, or corporation that is trying to grow and sell a product, right? So having skills as someone who knows how to make engaging YouTube videos, who knows how to write titles, who knows how to make thumbnails and edit the video and add music and add audio and add captions. Like these are all skills that companies are really going to value in the future. Now, of course, I could be wrong. I could 100% be wrong. And this is just my opinion and perspective, is as the internet age keeps improving, right? More and more companies will realize the power of something like TikTok. Like TikTok was something that was meant for just dancing, right? It was meant for like comedy skits and doing these like TikTok dances and all these like random things. And that's what TikTok was in the beginning. But now look at it. Like people are really realizing the power of these short form video, short form, I don't know what you call the resolution, 9:16, that vertical resolution that you have on your phone. It's because everyone has a phone, right? And this is where everyone watches content. And so if you're someone that has a YouTube channel, maybe you make YouTube shorts, or maybe you make Instagram reels or TikToks or whatever. Like these are all skills that if you keep working at it, they're going to be very, very valuable to other companies in the future. And, you know, a lot of them, they don't realize it yet, you know, but eventually I think they will, right? I think they will. And this is why I also don't just make YouTube videos, right? This is why I do the live stream. And this is why I do the podcast. This is to diversify all these different type of skills and abilities that I'm working on. Because if one of those things pop off, that I've been doing it for so many years. Like imagine if in the future live streams just like pop off, right? Let's say 2 years from now, live streams become like the super mainstream thing and everyone wants to do it. Everyone wants to have a live stream, and it becomes super, super popular in the general public. Where instead of watching like TV shows, people are just watching live streams because it's real, it's authentic, and it's in the moment. And if you look at what I've done, this is live stream number 32, right? So my ability to converse in a live setting where there's pressure, it's a skill that I've been able to develop over time. Like, am I saying I'm perfect at it? No, of course not. But if you look at live stream number 1 that I had on the channel, compared to now live stream number 32, I'm exponentially more comfortable and better in my own skin, and I can speak better by like tenfold. Like it's not even the same thing. And again, if live streams take off in the future, right? Now I have all this time I've been working on this skill, and it's going to be invaluable, right? So I think it's going to be amazing. Hey, Naman, what's up? Hey, what's your podcast? It's called the Bearsy Podcast. I'll type it for you. I actually record audio and video for the podcast. So you can find it on YouTube. If you want to watch a video version, it's on Spotify, Apple, Google. So I have the podcast everywhere. On my YouTube page, if you go to the home page at the top, there's like a link that says my newsletter, and beside it there's like a red YouTube icon. You can click that and it goes to the podcast. So yeah, the podcast is send the link. Okay. Can we send links in the stream? I don't know if that'll work. Okay, I sent the link. Hopefully that works. So the podcast is another cool thing. It has 38 episodes, right? Oh, if you guys can see. Look who's here. Look who's here, right over here. Well, someone's bombing the stream. So yeah, like just like the live stream, like I'm on live stream number 32, right? And again, this is like a skill I'm working on. Where the podcast, I'm on 38, right? So the podcast is just like the live stream. It's something it's getting better at. In the beginning, when I did the podcast, I don't know how to talk to anyone. I don't know how to interview people. I didn't know what questions to ask or how to converse over like an hour with a stranger. It was so difficult. But now I'm so much more comfortable because I've put in the time. I've put in those reps. And even though if you look at my podcast, like 66 subscribers. So if you look at it, you probably think like it's a failure. Like, why would I make and keep doing this podcast if no one is listening? Like the episode I released yesterday, 4 views. So people will probably think, oh, you're just wasting your time. But the thing that they don't understand is I am working and creating these podcasts now and getting my repetitions in now so that when I get on episode 300 or episode 400 or 500, and then when the podcast, hopefully it grows, I'm going to be that much more confident on camera. Right, my daughter's saying a bunch of craziness in the back. I listen to podcasts while working out, and I'm generally out of good content to listen to. Your podcasts are just what I needed. Hey, thanks, Naman. Just a disclaimer. What are you doing? Okay, I don't know. My daughter's like screaming something crazy down here. Yeah. So if you just a disclaimer, like the first 15 or so podcast episodes are probably terrible. They're probably awful. The first one, I wanted to start a podcast so bad, and no one wanted to do it with me. So I did it by myself, and I just got a camera. I put it in my bedroom. I didn't have a studio. This was 2 years ago. I had nowhere to film the podcast, right? And I was sitting at my wife's makeup vanity where she does her makeup in front of her mirror. And I sat there and I just talked to myself for 10 minutes. And I said, this episode is called Just Start. And this is episode 1. It's going to be terrible. It's going to be awful. It's not going to make any sense, right? But this is going to be the start of something amazing that I'm really, really going to work on and put effort into. And I'm not going to give it 5 weeks or 5 months. I'm going to give it like 5 years. I'm going to put like a solid 5 years worth of effort into this thing without any expectation for growth, right? And if you never do that first episode called Just Start, because that is the hardest one. It's the most difficult episode to do because it doesn't matter how much you prepare or how much you research or how much you look up how to create a podcast. It's always going to be shit. It's always going to be terrible. It doesn't matter what you do, right? But again, it's just starting and getting the ball rolling. And after that, I had maybe 2 other podcasts where, again, I had no guests. I had no one. So I just talked about basketball. And then that was episode 7. And then episode 8, I just talked about cameras because I didn't know what to do, right? And then over the past 2 years, it's really improved and grown over time. And, it's something that I love to do now, right? And it's one that hopefully will keep getting better. As I'm building a podcast studio right now. You guys can't see it, but to my right over here, there's another desk that's perpendicular to the desk that's in front of me. And I want to build like a podcast studio. I want to do podcasts in person. Might not be this year, hopefully next year. Because all these podcast episodes that I've recorded, they've all been like Zoom style, like over the internet. So, you have that little latency delay, which, it's kind of sucks. And there's like background noise and feedback and random noises that, you know, you can't really control when you do like a Zoom style podcast. And like, say you have a podcast with someone that I had like one with a guy like that's in Germany or Australia or whatever. Like, you don't know what microphone they have. You know, there could be all types of random noises, and it's hard to like make the conversation nice to listen to. So hopefully in the future I'll be able to do ones in person. The baby's hair is so long. That's so impressive. Yeah, my daughter. Oh, that's my first. That's my first. She's 2.5, so her hair is super long. Oh, here she comes. No, you're gonna get the stream banned. I don't think YouTube allows babies on stream. I love the fact that you are fully aware that things aren't perfect right off the bat, so you have to put effort to make it that way. Yeah, it's hard. I learned that lesson the hard way, because I don't know if, well, obviously you don't know, but like this YouTube channel where I'm streaming, I created it in 2007, and I've always wanted to make videos for a long time. And what held me back was I always wanted to make a perfect video. Like when I released a YouTube video, I wanted it to be like really well done. I wanted it to be well edited. I wanted it to have a point. I wanted it to have great conversation, to speak really well into it. What are you doing? So yeah, in the beginning of the channel, it was tough because I had that like perfectionism where I wanted the content that I was releasing, I wanted it to be really good, right? But it was holding me back from creating. And it was a lesson that I learned the hard way, because I created the channel in 2007, and it wasn't until 2019 that I was really posting consistently. And it was like a 12-year period. It took me 12 years to really learn this one simple idea of just be aware that in the beginning, it doesn't matter how much you prepare, it is always going to be shit. And the best thing you can do is to just hit record, speak your truth, hit the record button to end it, edit, upload, and move on to the next. And just keep doing that. And just keep doing that over and over and over and over. And that is how you get good. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so my daughter's bombing the stream right now. She's playing with some toys back there. I don't know if you guys can hear it. So crazy. I've seen people with either you are born with it, certain skill set, or you don't. Yeah, so that's an interesting thing. Like if you're either born with it or you're not. And I think that applies to personality, especially if you have that beautiful, extroverted Peter McKinnon type personality. Like that guy, like Peter McKinnon, Casey Neistat, like those like beautiful extroverted souls that like are so entertaining and so high energy and enthusiastic. Like those guys are super successful on YouTube because that is what people love to watch, and they feed off that energy, and it's very exciting. And so I feel like that is definitely something that you're kind of either born with or you're not. And unfortunately for me, that's something that I don't have. Like I don't have that extroverted, bubbly, super entertaining, high energy personality. I am the complete opposite. You know, I'm very boring. My voice is very mundane. I appear very low energy, and I'm not like jumping and all over the place. I'm very stoic, right? Because that is the type of personality that I have, and that is who I am. And I remember in the beginning, I tried to force it. I tried to do all these skits, and I tried to be all like, you know, cool and entertaining and like all over the place, and it just wasn't me. And YouTube, especially the audience, you guys are very smart. And the YouTube audience can sniff out bullshit. They can sniff out when you're being disingenuous and when you're being fake. And it was apparent in those videos that I made, right? Because no one resonated with it because it was so fake, right? It was just forced. It was me trying to be someone who I wasn't, right? And when I came to grips with the fact that this is who I am, you know, I am sort of ambiverted, more on the introverted side, Again, I'm very boring, very mundane. I don't have high energy. I talk a lot about like stoic stuff, philosophy type of stuff, self-improvement type of stuff. It's not entertaining, right? Like these aren't like super clickbait viral ideas that people want to see. It's like the complete opposite of like Jake Paul, for example, or Casey Neistat or Peter McKinnon. I'm the complete opposite from these guys, right? But again, like I came to grips with the fact that, you know, this is who I am. You know, I don't have that super entertaining personality, but this is what I can do best, right? Is to just work on my conversation, work on ideas that I read and learn and digest and extract, you know, what has helped me and what hasn't, what's good, what's useful, what isn't, and then maybe share that with you guys in a way that's, you know, is not as fun or entertaining, but it's, you know, it's more serious. But you know, it comes from a place of authenticity, right? Because you can't bullshit a 2-hour live stream, right? Like this is episode 32, right? So we're talking like 60 hours of me live streaming. You can't fake that, right? If you go through those live streams, if you go through those podcasts, like the real Derek will come through and you'll see who I am. And this is who I am, right? And maybe in those beginning episodes, I was more energetic, or I was like all over the place, and that was fake, right? That's not who I am. Like if you were to meet me in the real world, how I'm speaking right now, how I'm conversing, how I'm portraying myself is exactly how I am in my day-to-day life, right? And it's unfortunate because, you know, some people get caught up in that like Jake Paul, Kim Kardashian, you know, Andrew Tate type of persona where they think they need to be this like brash, exuberant personality in order to be successful. Now, if you have that, then that's great. Then you should definitely use that to your advantage. But like if that's not you, right? If it's just a facade, if it's just a mask that you wear in order to try to get acceptance, I think that's a massive mistake, right? To try to force it and be someone that you're not. And it's very tough because, you know, that is unfortunately what works, right? The whole clickbait game on YouTube, it works, right? That's what gets views. That's what gets subscribers. And the stuff that I do, it's not as successful, right? But I feel like you still can grow if you use authenticity as your main attribute. It will just take a lot longer. And again, I'm here to play the long game, and I think that's okay. It doesn't matter though, if you're being yourself, you will eventually find the right audience who is just there for the core content you make. Yeah, exactly, right? Like you have to remember, like this stuff that I talk about, I don't want subscribers just for subscribers. Like I want subscribers who are really trying to improve their life, because these are the people that I want to reach. Like say if you're someone that wants to improve your health or improve your wealth, improve your status, improve your education, your knowledge, your mindset, your perspective. Like if you want to become a better human being and be part of this self-improvement movement that all these other creators promote, you know, these are the type of people I want to talk to. Like I don't want to have like 10,000 subscribers just for the sake of the metrics or the numbers or the optics. That's not what you want, right? But it takes you a while to figure that out. And, you know, I'm sure we'll build this tribe over time, right? And I'm lucky because, you know, I'm patient enough to, you know, play the long game and be consistent and keep showing up. So that's what I think my strength is. Speaking of Andrew Tate, what do you think of him? Oh, okay, this is an interesting question. To be perfectly honest, I didn't make a reaction video on Andrew Tate when he got canceled, specifically because I wanted time to develop my own opinion of him. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, Andrew Tate was like this super influential confrontational. No, what's the right word? There's a word that starts with con. Wow, it's like on the tip of my tongue. Controversial, that was it. Super controversial guy that says a lot of brash things. And he was labeled as a misogynist, right? You know, someone who says a lot of detrimental things to women and is super pro-masculine. And obviously, like, YouTube and Facebook and all these platforms found it problematic and they canceled him. They banned him, right? Now, right off the beginning, I'm someone who's against cancel culture. I don't think cancel culture is good in any way. I think you need to have people have the ability to speak their truth. And the best way you combat that, if someone says something crazy, right? The best thing that you beat their speech with is with better speech. You beat them with better conversation. You beat them with better reasoning. You beat them with better debate. That is the best thing you can do when it comes to ideas that you don't like and disagree with, is you beat it with better speech and better ideas and better counterpoints. The worst thing you can do is you cancel it, because then you're closing the conversation window. You're closing our ability to talk about it, right? So when it comes to cancel culture, that is my opinion. I'm always of the opinion is you beat shitty ideas with better speech and better conversation. You do not cancel them, right? Because now you get into this pissing contest. Oh, I don't like what you said. Canceled. Oh, I don't agree with that. Canceled. And you're limiting ideas, right? And again, like, who is determining this? Unfortunately, it comes from political stance, right? Like YouTube, Facebook, all these platforms are very left-leaning, right? And so they have these like political ideologies, and they're very sensitive to stuff like misogyny, right? Now, this is not a defense of Andrew Tate, right? He said what he said, and that's that. However, one thing that people didn't do, and this is what I did, is I gave it a week and I thought about it and I watched the videos before I came to a conclusion. When he got canceled, everyone right away rushed to the computers, like, "Oh, Andrew Tate is a bad guy. This is bullshit. He's promoting toxic masculinity. He's a misogynist. He hates women. He doesn't agree in equality." But all of these opinions that they have is based off of 30-second snippets of YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and TikTok. This is where all the information came from, right? This was this knee-jerk reaction people have. This guy's a bad guy. Oh, he said this, this, and this. And you look at like 5, 6, or 7 of his most popular Reels, and he's saying crazy shit, right? So bam, canceled. And everyone jumps on the train. And there is this group mentality where you want to be part of everyone else, right? The majority is saying Andrew Tate is a bad guy, we should cancel him. So everyone jumps on because they want to be part of the pile-up. They want to be part of the group that is right. Instead of taking their time and thinking about the situation objectively and looking at the whole situation. So what I did is I looked at some of the conversations he's had, some of the podcasts he's had, and he has tons of content out there, so I wasn't able to go through everything. But if you listen to a 2-hour conversation of Andrew Tate when he was on like Your Mom's House podcast or some other podcast or his own, when he talks about all this stuff, you have like a 30-second snippet or clip that's taken out of context, and that is what blows up. And people don't listen to the other hour and 59 minutes of the conversation. Now, what I like about Andrew Tate is if you listen to his ideas about discipline, his ideas about work ethic, his ideas about financial freedom, saving money, investing, confidence, working out, health. These are all amazing, amazing beneficial ideas that there's lots of great information there. When I listened to a lot of his things, and he talked about how he doesn't act on his emotions, he acts on what he needs to do. And his emotions, he throws them to the side. So if he wakes up one day, he doesn't feel like working out, he says, "No, fuck you, I'm working out." If he wakes up one day and he wants to skip on his diet and order McDonald's, he goes, "No, fuck you, we're eating clean. We're having salad for lunch," right? He lives his life where his emotions are removed and he does what is necessary. He does what is required. He does what brings you discipline. And this is a very important concept for young men. And there's so many like great nuggets of wisdom in his videos when it comes to all these other ideas in life that are very, very beneficial. But the one time he says something crazy, right, about women, that's like very negative or misogynist, that gets clipped out, that gets put into a YouTube short, that gets shown to like 7-10 million people, whereas the whole conversation, the whole podcast, no one listens to the whole thing, right? And that's a problem that I have, where I think like 95% of the stuff he says is like great information. It's so useful, especially for young men, like being disciplined, being accountable, like standing up for yourself, right? Building a strong, confident body, being healthy, working out, waking up early, building a business, continually learning things, saving money, right? Being a provider, being a strong, like these are all amazing ideas, right? And I agree with like all of them. Like 95% of the stuff he says is like great stuff, right? And this is why cancel culture is bad, because now we miss out on those great nuggets of wisdom because the 5% of the stuff he says is crazy, right? This is the big problem that I have. Is like, I think 95% of what he says is great info. It's awesome stuff, right? But we cancel him for the lower 5. Like, is it worth it? Right? Like, and now you get into this like tough position because like if you're on the YouTube platform, you have to play by the rules, and they don't allow misogynistic comments to fly, right? It's just like with like little kids. Like my daughter was back here. YouTube doesn't want to show children on YouTube videos. Like even I made a YouTube video with pictures of myself as a baby, and it instantly got flagged for children content, and they disable the comment section. Like YouTube has rules, and if you're on this platform, you have to play by the rules, right? So in one sense, I guess they're right for canceling him. It's their platform, their rules, right? But like when you cancel someone for the 5% of negative shit they say, and you don't allow people to look at the positive 95%, right? It's like, that's when I feel kind of bad, because I think genuinely, if you look at all the other concepts that he talks about and all his other beliefs, I think he's a great educator for a lot of those things. Another thing is he's very consistent. Like if you go back and look at all his journeys and all the things he said, he's very, very consistent. He's very consistent with like the work ethic, the business stuff, the health, the routine. He's also been very consistent with like, I guess, the misogynistic stuff too, where he's trying to lift up men, right, and promote men. And I get it, and I appreciate the consistency, because he's not like a politician who flip-flops and he can't like always changes their mind all the time about certain things, right? So to be perfectly honest, if I had to say in one sentence, I like the guy. I like the guy. I like the guy as a content creator. It's unfortunate, some of the stuff he said, which got him banned. That sucks. But again, like if you look at the whole thing, if you look at the whole conversation, all the ideas that he talks about, right? There's so many great beneficial things there that I think are extremely valuable for young men. And it's a little unfortunate that we have this like narrative of cancel culture now where the tiniest thing can get you canceled, right? And this is something that I have to worry about. Like, what if on one of these live streams or podcasts, I say something that's, I don't know, maybe it's controversial and it gets me canceled, right? Like I have thousands and thousands of hours of myself speaking, like freeballing it. No script, no preconceived ideas or notions beforehand. This is like all live in the moment, right? I can't edit this out. If I make a mistake right now in this sentence I'm about to say, I can't go back into Adobe Premiere and cut it out. Like this is live, it's out there. And I have thousands and thousands of hours of myself out there on the internet that people can go through and dissect and make a 60-second clip or 30-second clip. Oh, look, Derek said this. Derek said that. He's a terrible person. We should cancel him. Without looking at the whole picture, without listening to the entirety of my message, right? And this is why I have a problem with cancel culture, because I have to worry about it. Like when I do this live stream, am I going to have to censor myself? Right, and make sure I say things that are only politically correct, or can I speak my mind to you guys? Can I speak truth? Can I be authentic? And again, authenticity is important to me, right? Like I made a video recently talking about psychedelic mushrooms and how they've helped my life. They've been very beneficial for me taking psychedelics. Again, we're talking about Schedule 1 drugs, which are illegal in America, right? And I posted that video. I'm like, is this going to get me canceled? Like, do I have to be fearful about making a video about a mushroom that has helped my life in a positive way in fear of getting canceled? right? Like this is what I have to live with. And this is what all content creators have to live with every day. Is this fear, will authenticity get you removed because it goes against the narrative and the terms of service from social media companies? And it's like, I don't know what the answer is, right? I don't know what the answer is. Like, I try my best to be as authentic as I can, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about refraining from saying things that might get me canceled, right? Like, even like politics, if I bring up that YouTube has a left-wing ideology, does that go against what they believe in? Will that get you censored, or will that get you shadow banned? Like, I don't know. All right, should I be fearful to talk about that type of stuff? All right. It's just a tricky situation. And again, my whole issue with the Andrew Tate thing was that people didn't take the time to listen to the full conversation, to watch all the videos, and instead they based their opinions off a 30-second YouTube short or 60-second TikTok where he said some crazy shit, and now that's why he's banned. So yeah, like, it's like I said, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the answer is. It kind of just makes me a little bit sad, right? It's tough because I feel like we need more people who are willing to be authentic and speak the truth, right? Like, these people are very, very important, I think, in a world that's full of conformity and bullshit, right? And I don't know. It's tough. Like I said, like, this is something that I love to do. I love the pressure of the moment, right? I love the pressure of live streaming and being forced to give my opinion on things, because I think it's good, right? I think pressure is good. Doing difficult things is good. It's what's helped me improved along all these years, and it's one that I don't think I'm ever going to stop, right? But unfortunately, if I get canceled one day for making maybe a video about mushrooms or saying something crazy about being, I don't know, the benefits of Andrew Tate, so be it. Yeah, so I guess that's my answer. Oh man, we did 2 hours already. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? If not, I'm gonna end the podcast, end the stream, and get some lunch. Today was super cool, super good stream. Like, I don't know how to say your name, Corsair. You're still there? Reach out, bro. We'll do a podcast. Book recommendations. Oh man, I got a lot. So recently I've been reading a lot of Malcolm Gladwell. Blink was good. Outliers was really good. Talking to Strangers, I think, was huge. It was a very, very eye-opening book for me. Talking to Strangers by Malcolm Gladwell. That was like a really good one. Because again, for me, like my podcast, like I talk to strangers all the time, right? It's a very great book that kind of teaches you like how poorly human beings know other human beings, right? It's a very interesting read. So yeah, Malcolm Gladwell was good. I love reading anything Robert Greene. Robert Greene is great. He has that book. It's a very long book, The Laws of Human Nature, something 50 Laws. Can't remember what the title is. This red and blue book, really thick. Robert Greene stuff is awesome, very well researched, very well written. He actually had a collaboration with 50 Cent, which I thought was like weird. I'm like, what? Robert Greene and 50 Cent? That's gonna be a stupid book. Read it, great book. I'm thoroughly surprised. It was an interesting read because it kind of talked about like the struggles that 50 Cent had, like growing up, getting shot, dealing drugs, rising to fame in the rap industry, while also collaborating with this brilliant writer in Robert Greene. I found it was a very interesting and unique pairing. So that was good. If you want any very like high level reading, anything Nassim Taleb is great. I find Nassim Taleb kind of has like a big attitude, and he kind of arrogant, especially in the way he writes. He uses words that are so sophisticated that I think are unnecessary. But anything Nassim Taleb, amazing ideas in his books. Has a lot of great ideas and mental constructs that I apply to my own life. He has a book, Skin in the Game and The Black Swan, both by Nassim Taleb. Great books if you want something very heavy and difficult to consume, but very eye-opening and motivational. And what else I got on my shelf? What else have I been reading? There's just so many books. I think those are all great. Personal finance. If you want personal finance book, a modern one would be Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. This is a more newer book, so a lot of the ideas they're applicable and they're more recent. So the Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, great book for personal finance. And then another one would be, on the flip side, on the inverse, The Richest Man in Babylon. I think it was a super old book I've read. And surprisingly, a lot of the concepts hold up when it comes to personal finance. Again, I think personal finance is a must read. Like, you need to read about personal finance, learn about acquiring money, learn what to do when you get money, how to save it, how to grow it, how to beat inflation, right? Because if you just make money and keep it in your bank account and you don't let it grow, it's losing money to inflation. Right? You need to learn how to grow it, learn how to keep it, and learn to not give it away. Personal finance is super important, because that is what will free up time in your life to do things that you love, which will in turn make you, live a happy life, hopefully. And I think that's it for the books. Write the email right now. Yeah, bro, write it. Let's do it up. Yo, Augusto made it. Yo, Augusto. Bro, you made it just at the end of the stream. We're about to wrap it up. Just quickly stopping by to wish you all the best. I'm in a rush with studies and exams coming this week, so sadly cannot stay, but I'm always watching your content, man. Hey, Augusto, bro. Lots of love, man. My brother from South America, always love talking to you. Remember, you were like the first guy that found me when I was like streaming on Twitch, right? And then in those days, and we're on live stream 32, bro. Can't believe it. But always love catching up with you, Augusto. And keep grinding in school, bro. Keep grinding. All the best with your exams and studies. So yeah, that's it. Let's wrap it up. I'm gonna have some lunch. Try to be a good dad for my daughter who's screaming upstairs. So everyone that made it to the stream, Corsair, Augusto, Naman, Batiste, 100% True, and whoever else that is watching the replay of this live stream. Thanks for watching. If you guys haven't subscribe to the channel. I have lots of great content coming out in the future. I have the podcast, Bearsy Podcast. You want to check it out. I have a newsletter. If you want to follow the newsletter, derekbearsy.com. I release one newsletter once a month talking about abstract ideas that I don't add to my channel, and kind of talk about dates coming up. Like the stream, hit the like button if you found this enjoyable in some way. And if you didn't, leave me a comment. Let me know what I could do better, or let me know what you would like to see in the future, as I'm someone that I highly value criticism. I am not someone that takes constructive criticism lightly. I really appreciate when I receive criticism from people, because I think it's a super important thing to be willing to accept faults and willing to accept other people's opinions for what you can do better. And it's something that I think is super important. So till next time, I hope you guys have a good weekend, and I'll catch you in the next stream. We'll say Saturday, September 24th, around the same time at 12. So yeah, have a good weekend, guys, and peace. Bye.